And it's something that we feel really keenly that we need to get right for people, because it's a really hard time for everyone.
So what have you been doing down at Strand then?
So we have been taking part in a practice training programme called the Compassion Understood programme, which aims to coach veterinary practices and the teams within veterinary practices on how we address this time and the whole concept of pets passing away with their families. So everybody in our practice has now completed the training required, which means that we are now a platinum accredited practice for Compassion Understood, which is brilliant. It means that we can all be confident that we're able to do the best that we can for people at that really, really difficult time.
And how much would you say it's changed your approach then?
It's changed it hugely. Even when in the practice we've had a frame shift in how we approach it. It always used to be the case that after we'd had one of those really difficult afternoons where we'd been with a grieving family, it was something you'd come back, you'd drink a cup of tea and kind of get on with the rest of your day. But now we have a much more open attitude and kind of culture within the practice. We talk about it. We talk about how things went well, how people coped, the experience we had, and use it to try and build a better experience for people, who are going to undergo that difficult journey the next few days.
And when you say you've been through this training, we're talking about every member of staff, aren't we? Even the receptionist, everyone's sort of gone through it, which is really crucial, isn't it?
Absolutely. Anybody who is involved in the practice has done the training, from the person who might answer the phone to you, the people who greet you as you come in, so that no matter who answers the phone to you on the day you think, actually, I need to talk about this, you know that you're going to get somebody to talk to who has a little bit of an understanding as to what you're going through and knows a bit about how to support you at that time.
I was reading some of the information you sent through about this, Fern, and it said that 80% of pets are euthanised, so you make that decision. And I wonder how involved owners can actually get in that whole decision-making process.
So the entire process, as far as I'm concerned, and certainly as far as my colleagues are concerned, is driven by you. Your pet's family, you know them, you live with them day in, day out. I would never like to be in a situation where we're having to force you to make that decision, because it's an intensely personal thing and everybody comes to it at a very different stage. It's a huge gift that you're choosing to give them, is to give them the opportunity to pass in a peaceful way, in a way where you know that you're controlling everything and they're going to be happy. And it's something that everybody's got to come to in their own time and their own way. And whilst we can support you all the way, we can talk to you and help to guide you in that decision, it always ultimately has to be your decision.
And when it comes to things like being with your pet, I think there is a feeling that perhaps that's what a good owner should do. I mean, is that always the case, would you say?
I would say there is no one thing that defines a good owner. A good owner is someone who loves their pet and does what's best for them. If you think that you want to be with them and hold them and you can cope with that, and for you that's something that you're comfortable with, then that's great. We will support you in that. Equally, if you feel that you can't do that, you're not up to that, you just can't cope, and you think they'd be better off with one of us, I can promise you no animal will ever go in with me without having a cuddle from one of my team or myself.
Because I suppose at the end of the day there's that possibility, isn't there, that the owner might get really quite upset, and I'm guessing then the pet might notice that and it could affect the pet.
Absolutely, yeah. At the end, all they really know is that they're with someone, and if that someone is someone who they know and trust, and that person is very upset and worried, it can be upsetting and worrying for the animal. Sometimes pets just want someone to be with them, and they'll appreciate your presence. But if you're upset and you don't want to, that is okay too.
Now, this might be a sort of controversial suggestion, but what about having kids present? Does that come up?
Yeah, it comes up regularly, and I certainly have no issue with children being around at the time that a pet is passing. Actually, they're a part of children's families as well, and they are part of the family that they will miss, and understanding what's happening and what's gone on and the decisions that have been taken to get to that stage can really help in a child's grieving process.
Which is really crucial, isn't it? Because we were talking about this before, and as you were saying, some children, if the pet has been brought in from a very early age, or even before the children was born, the child hasn't known the family life without that pet. So it can be a bigger thing for the child in a way.
Absolutely, and often it's their first experience of death is a family pet dying, and it's important that we get it right and give them the skills and the strategies to be able to cope with that as they grow into adults.
What advice do you have to parents about how you talk to a child about the death of a pet?
So it's really important to be as honest as you feel comfortable being. Obviously, I'm not going to dictate to anyone what they have to say or not say, but children have an amazing capacity to cope with these things, and I think sometimes as adults we don't quite give them enough credit. It is really important, though, that if you're going to talk to a child, that you use appropriate terminology and that you make sure they understand fully what's happening. It's very easy sometimes for misconceptions to happen because it's a very emotional time. One of the big things that I'm quite careful that when we have children with us is that we tend not to use the phrase put to sleep as readily when children are around, because actually for a child, being told that your best friend has gone to sleep and won't wake up can be really quite a disturbing concept, and actually understanding that your pet has died is a very different thing in their head to them going to sleep and not waking up.
Because it's that idea, isn't it? It's a life lesson in itself, I think, really. And of course, you don't want them going away thinking, I don't want to go to sleep just in case something happens to me. Absolutely. As well. Yeah. You talked before as well about the notion of, obviously, we're talking more about pets coming to you at the practice, but you can go to the homes as well, can't you?
Absolutely. We have a practice policy, that if you would prefer your pet to be seen in your home environment and it's feasibly possible for us to make that happen, we will do that. And I mean, we've done all sorts of places. We've done on sofas, we've done down the side of kitchen dressers. You wouldn't believe the places we've been. But actually, wherever your animal is safe and comfortable and wherever you feel safe and comfortable is really, really important to us. So if you want that experience to not be at our place, then just say and let's see what we can do to make it the experience that you want.
And what about the options for what happens to your pet afterwards?
So we're very lucky here that we do have options. So there is the traditional route that you can take them home, you can bury them as long as you've got land to do that on, and certainly if that's what you want to do, we have guidance on how you do that and things and the process. But we also have the option of the crematorium. So there is a pet crematorium on the island who will take pets' remains and cremate them for you. And they can either come back to you in little urns, for you to scatter or hold on to their ashes, or they will cremate them with some other animals and then they will scatter them on your behalf. But certainly if you're getting to the stage where you're thinking about that, or if your pet has passed unexpectedly, then call and speak to your vet, and it's something that we really want to start developing a dialogue about before the point where it's a really hard decision to make.